And so we are resolved. The First Amendment to our Constitution is as follows. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, of abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Well done, gentlemen, the First Amendment. All right. Now, what shall we discuss next? What is the second most important principle of our nation?
Guns.
Excuse me? I don't hate that. Well, I do. It's ridiculous. Sir, what is your name?
Matt.
Matt what?
Matt, don't you worry about it.
Well, Matt, what will posterity say of us if the second right we enshrine in this document is simply guns?
That we don't play.
Damn, that's actually kind of sick.
Yes. No. The idea is ludicrous.
Wait, now hold on. I mean, we did just make a law that said anyone can say whatever crazy stuff they want, right? Maybe this gun thing would kind of balance that out.
Bingo.
Okay, yes, but by the same token, wouldn't having a gun embolden people to say crazy stuff as well?
Bro, what?
Yeah, what? That makes sense. Gentlemen, we cannot just have an amendment that says guns, but what about guns?
Having them.
Oh, that's smart.
Like, who is this guy? Why isn't he running this?
Matt, I am open to discussing guns for a later amendment, but I must insist we move on to a more pressing concern. You're screaming. So angry. Sir, where are you from exactly?
America.
Yes, but where in America? Which state?
A united one.
Oh, wow, well said.
So true.
Can this guy, like, be on our money? Who is this guy?
Have guns, really, gentlemen? That's what we want the Second Amendment to be. Have guns. That sounds idiotic.
Just chill. Not have guns. They're armed.
Ooh, that is so good!
That sounds smart as hell.
Yeah, okay, I'm friggin' sold. I'm writing it down. Amendment to the right to bear arms.
I just got chills.
Well, my work here's done.
Wait, Matt, will we ever see you again?
Depends on where you look.
Harper's check engine light is on. But a friendly AutoZoner runs a free fixed finder system that defers her tools.
Hey, Kurt24, how's it going, brother? Popping up a little live in the morning, haven't done this in a little while. We'll be moving over to Rumble at some point, I think later today. But figured, what the heck, let's pop on YouTube for the morning. See just how bad the YouTube algorithm works for us anymore. There we go, let's pop that off. I will still give this to YouTube, though. They do have a much ease. It's easier to use, but Rumble is definitely the way to go. Oh, how goes your latest builds, Kurt? Showing off our SM-19 Turbo, or sorry, Zoom in Space War. Yeah, it's true. At least you can speak freely on Rumble. Yeah, and you know, I think it will continue to improve as just people transition over there. Yeah, once people just start kind of migrating that way, and Supposedly, some people are saying, I've been talking with RTT Guns and Gear, Matt over there, and supposedly Facebook is becoming less restrictive towards 2A channels. But that said, there's also a lot of people under the Meta umbrella still getting restricted. So who knows? Honestly, if they do become less restrictive, it is most likely because they are being pressured. And Zuckerberg wants to make money, just like everybody else wants to make money. So if the anti-2A train isn't helping make him money, he'll shift. So yep, got a little space-worn zoom here, 17.4 stainless steel. Trigicon RMR flat optic cut, aluminum RMR cover plate. Designed for the Gen 3 Glock 19, but if you know what you're doing, you can make it fit on Gen 4s and Gen 5s as well. We make 19s, we make 17s, and we are making the 26. It's currently being made for distributors and vendors, and once we finish all of our contracts with that, we'll have the 26 available for retail. Currently reaching out to multiple distributors and vendors, and even some small mom and pop shops now. I think we're going to do a meeting trying to get slides into multiple pawn shops too. We'll see what happens with that. But also prepping for SHOT Show coming up. SHOT Show in January, so we got like, what, 4 months? 4.5 months? Felt like we were just there. Felt like we were just at SHOT Show. Yeah, like Kurt was saying, speak freely is, you know, we can do strap checks over on Rumble too, which we can't do here on YouTube. But thankfully, you know, we can show slides as long as there's no frames. They seem to have an issue with frames, but slides, not so much of a problem. Swap out the zoom. Oh, I'd love to make it to goals. You know, I'm a life member of GOA, and I know I can get into goals, and it's the travel. It's the expenditure. What was last goals? No, GunCon was Ohio. I forget where goals was, but it's across the country, and the travel alone would have just been a pain. So we have our SM17 Turbo in burnt bronze. Similar to the Zoom. Different front grip serrations. Has that top ported window. Florida next year. Okay. Oh, it was in Iowa? Yeah, because people were asking if we were going to go to GunCon. We knew one of the panel members at GunCon in Ohio. Things did not go well for that convention. I forget the details, but my understanding was the city or the people who ran the convention did not support the Second Amendment, and they made it very difficult for certain people to attend and targeted certain people. But anyway, we knew Got Gamage. He was one of the panel members at GunCon, and he actually has a couple of our slides. I know he did a pretty good review on one of our old Flash slides, and so that was kind of cool that he went to GunCon and, you know, got to be a part of the panel. Florida, though, I mean, you know, we were, for those of you that were around when we first started in 2023, we did start out in Florida before returning to our home state of Arizona. So we do know some people in Florida. I don't know, maybe we could make that a thing. It depends, though, you know, because our big thing is SHOT Show. We spend a lot of money to go to SHOT Show. And, yeah, if we continue to grow, maybe we could start doing multiple conventions. The problem is they're all just so far from each other. SHOT Show's in Vegas, us being in Arizona, that's a real easy... We can literally just drive there if we want to. but driving to Ohio or Iowa or Florida, you know, you're looking at a 3-day trip, 3 to 4 day trip. So it's kind of a rough drive, and you got to take all of your stuff with you. Yeah. Or we could fly, but then you got to figure out, how do I get all my stuff there without causing any problems, because TSA, and hopefully they don't lose your stuff. And I talked to a few guys who went to SHOT last year, or still this year, 8 months ago. And they were like, yeah, airline actually lost some of our stuff, and they eventually found it, but not in time for them to get it to the first couple days of SHOT Show. And I'm just like, oh, that sucks. I could just imagine if we had equipment and we had product that we had to bring and some of it got lost. And you never know if you're going to get it back either, because, you know, sometimes they find it, but sometimes it's just gone. Sacrifice to the airline gods. But hey, we got 3 in here. Far from the days when we used to have several hundred in here. But that's the big transition over to Rumble. Like when we wanted to do our giveaway, I still got to talk with Justine about that, because we still want to do the Viper giveaway. But around the time we were planning on doing it, was around the time YouTube was giving us a lot of problems, and we were going to give away one of our slides. And we were just like, you know what? We're going to hold off until we figure out what the heck is going on with YouTube. And then now we're just like, well, you know what? Maybe we'll do it with Instagram or Rumble now. And kind of fell off the wayside because we got busy with other stuff. And it kind of sucks because the whole plan was to do it with YouTube, because that's where the main following base was. We were over 2,000 for a little bit there. And we were just like, you know what, we're going to do our 1K, 2K giveaway. And then YouTube started getting all weird, especially when we got the temporary suspension when we were doing a green screen. And somehow the AI detection for YouTube could not tell the difference, even though we were using the green screen function, could not tell the difference between a green screen firearm and a real firearm. And so we got a couple days suspension there. And ever since then, the numbers have been kind of just nil. So we've been focusing on other marketing, you know, talking with communities in other ways. And then, of course, hanging out on Rumble, you know, DLD After Dark, Flying Rich, John Crumb, over on Twitter a little bit, too. Hey, Alpha Omega, Survival Supply. What's going on, brother? Do a little morning live. Waiting for my coffee to brew. But, you know, hanging out with the communities on other people's channels and talking with people in that regard. And that's been kind of cool, you know, still. Because, yeah, sure, we weren't doing lives ourselves, but we were still interacting with everybody. Still answering questions, engaging in conversation, which has been fun. I greatly appreciate it, man. And yeah, I'll probably transition over to Rumble again for a second live sometime today. Maybe tonight, I don't know. But I've got to play around with it a little bit. It's been a minute since I did one on Rumble. And maybe it's updated a little bit since then too, so. Hey, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the live. Just showing off some slides, waiting for my morning coffee, chatting things up a little bit. If you guys got questions or if you got some cool builds, let me know. Need to take this back out to the range again. Actually, it's been a... Oh, yep, there it is. Okay, just needs to shake it up a little bit. A little bit of the Ghost Dad Ecto-Lube. Might do something with them. We'll see what's up. Alpha, yeah. Well, kind of. It is a tiger stripe paint job. And it has been affectionately known as, like, Tony the Tiger. But we do some other ones, too. So we have, like, kind of a blue tiger stripe, red tiger stripe, zebra stripe. But similar concept. And, yeah, Tony the Tiger. Yep, we use Hunter Orange Cerakote and Graphite Black. And the stencils we get are from Tactical Penguin. And we just kind of same thing with the lightning ones here. Similar stencils, you know, to make those interesting effects. But yeah, Tony the Tiger. When we started, when we did the reds and have we done a green one yet? I want to say we've done a green Mamba one. And that kind of went in with our urban camo that we've been doing. Which that's been proven kind of popular. Let's see, that's a shimmer helmet. Oh, these are the old cases, too. We've switched cases. The old ones have this little tab here so where you can hang it on a wall, hang it on a hook. The new ones do not. Helps the packaging integrity by not having that there. It is kind of cool, though. Right on, Kurt. Have a good one. It is pretty cool, though, because we actually hang them on the walls at the shop with the old ones. But the new ones, we just figure it's better. Here we have one of our SM17 camos. The Zoom. This one without the RMR cover plate, so you can see that Trijicon RMR flat optic cut that we use. You know, do I have a snow? I do not have a snow camo here. The Arctic winter camo. No, I don't. Oh, I do have. She probably doesn't know I have it. I do have the St. Patrick's Day camo for the SM17 Viper. And so we took every green that we had and we made this camo. So green Mamba, mil-spec OD green, crocodile green. I'm forgetting one right now. I want to say Jesse James Eastern Front green. But yeah, we did this for St. Patrick's Day, just a limited camo release, and this is one of them. Some people really liked it. Some people were like, eh. I kind of like it. Oh yeah, the Woodland-esque ones, yeah. They're really popular. So this one here, utilizing desert sand, utilizing mil-spec OD green, and I'm forgetting one of them. Forgetting it right now. So many Cerakotes that we have. Let me pull it up. And we just added some more camo, or it's not more camo, we just added some more Cerakote colors too. Let's see, OD. Yeah, I think so. I think it works out pretty good. We keep getting requests for the Rhodesian ones every now and then, but we're not sure if that one's going to be popular enough. There we go, color pattern list. That's what I was looking for. Yep, there we go. Jesse James green, mil-spec OD green. Typhoon, where's the rest of them? Bad list. Just a bad list. There we go. This might be the list. Not Cobalt Kinetic Screen. I know we got rid of that one. Ah, that's what it was. It was Glock FDE. Flat Dark Earth, Desert Sand, and Mil-Spec OD Green. I was blanking that real hard. Have you ever had a problem with the slides not having the post to mount to the dot? I have a slide that's cut like yours and haven't had any issues. No, we have not. And the issues that you're talking about, this was a problem a few years back, where people are talking about not having the posts, the recoil posts, or some people might say ZEV posts or whatever else, boss lugs. Anyway, the reason we don't need them is we have measured them down to about a hair. Yeah, about a hair's, literally like the hair on your head. If you take one strand, we've measured it down to about a hair difference with the Trigicon RMR cut. So if your cut is tight, the optic is, I wish I had an optic with me. I might actually, hold on. Does this Wolf still have the optic in it? There we go. Yes, it does. All right. So this is a Siley Optics Wolf EDG, which I need to get out and test fire quite a bit. So, okay, this is going to be a little hard to show on video, but okay. So, you're looking for a lot of play. If you when you go to shake it, if there's a lot of play, this is a little hard to show on video. You're looking for a lot of movement. If there's not, if it's tight, right? If it's tight, you don't really have to worry a whole lot about shear force. And that is where the recoil post, the boss lugs, whatever, come in. They assist with taking stress off your optic screws. But if you have a tight cut, that is less of an issue. Now, if this was rattling all over the place, like just, you got a problem. You definitely need those posts. But if you have a tight cut, you're good to go. And we have not had a problem. We've not had any customers tell us they've had a problem. And if there is a problem, we'll help you fix it. If for some reason something happens, like if there's a mechanical issue, reach out to us. We'll help fix it. But so far, no. Out of the over, what are we at, 3.5 years now of doing this, we have not had any problems like that. And I have this particular one on my personal build, and I've shot 1,300 rounds through it at this point. No issues. Every now and then you got to tighten down the optic screw. Just the recoil, it's sending vibration through. It's causing the screws to loosen over time unless you use Loctite, which I don't use Loctite because I need to be able to swap things on it. But when it's your permanent build, yeah, throw some Loctite in there. But yeah, this is the Wolf EDG. Siley Optics sent us this to test, and I feel a little bad because I have not tested this one yet compared to the Wolf X Pro, which I've dumped 1,300 rounds through so far, and loving it. Loving that optic. Speaking of optics, I also recommend, go check out Gideon Optics. They got some cool stuff. But yeah, Siley sent us these to check to make sure they actually work with our slides, and they do. So, I mean, if you guys want to give Siley Optics a try, give them look them up. They're fairly affordable. And when I say test, I actually took the Wolf X Pro, not the EDG, the Wolf X Pro, and I've thrown it at stuff. I have smacked it on the ground, smacked it onto tables, used it kind of like a hammer, and it still keeps running. It still holds 0, so they're doing something right. What? What, you just want attention? It's the cat. That is how they should be cut. Yep, yeah, exactly. And sometimes you cut a little bit more, to account for third-party products. Sometimes you take a little bit out because you're stacking tolerances and you're trying to get other stuff to fit. The problem with that is that sometimes, again, stacking tolerances, sometimes someone else's mess up does not work well with your adjustment. So that's why we try to stick close to OEM as much as possible. We're about a hair's measurement off of OEM. So we base all of our measurements off OEM. And when someone's like, hey, I bought this third-party thing off so-and-so, I got this Temu thing, and I'm like, okay, well, I've tested our products on Glock OEM, Palmetto State Armory, some of the old Polymer 80 stuff, grit grips. I'm like, unfortunately, SCT Manufacturing. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with whatever third-party brand you did. But maybe try an OEM parts kit. Maybe try one of the, up there OEM frames, or, third-party tried and true frames, like SCT or PSA or grit grips or something like that. And, see if that fixes the issue. And then they go, oh, yeah, hey, I swapped to a better parts kit. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not saying some of the cheaper stuff won't work, but sometimes you do get what you pay for. And if you can find a parts kit for $15, might not work so well. Oh yeah, the Space Worn one there. We did have an actual Battle Worn where we utilized Cerakote to create the distressing. In this particular one, we wear the Cerakote back so that the stainless steel shows through. And we had to come up with another word for it because it's not really battle worn, because we already had battle worn. So it was space worn. And yeah, it's been proven pretty popular. And kind of the neat thing about it is I wish I had a few with me, but this is just the only one I have at the moment. The wear pattern changes for every single slide. So if you get a space worn, like you notice how this one doesn't have a whole lot of wear along this side here, but it does have some top wear. Sometimes you'll get interesting wear patterns here, or on the other side, or of course on all the grip serrations, you're going to get some wear. And we also ended up doing a little bit of wear on the RMR cover plates too, just to kind of match up a little bit. But the wear pattern for every single space worn is different. They're not going to look like the picture. They're not going to look like each other. If you get a few of them stacked next to each other, they'll look similar, but no wear pattern is exactly the same. They all wear differently, which is kind of cool. You got a little bit of uniqueness to your slide. And it's the same thing with the stencils too, is none of them are going to look exactly the same. The stencils are going to be a little different for each and every one. Or kind of like our blends, like when we do our Viper Liberty, the red, white, and blue one, they're all going to look a little different. Just a smidge. Similar concept, but they all just look a little different. There's no way to 100% match them. Absolutely, you get what you pay. And I'm not saying there's not good deals out there. There absolutely are. I've found some pretty cool deals in the past. It's just, you got to do your research too. If you're getting your parts kit off some random Temu, maybe it'll work. Or maybe stacking tolerances has issues with your other parts. Who knows? It's really hard to say. And then the parts kit, of course, we're using right now is SCT Manufacturing. And they've been pretty good. There have been some issues here and there in the past. But SCT's fixed those issues and helped people out as far as I understand. So, when you're building, sometimes you make adjustments. It is what it is. Hey, Smith Custom, what's going on, man? Haven't done a little YouTube live in a while. I did one a couple weeks back. But, of course, Arizona, the summer heat, cooked my phone and forced the app to shut down. So, definitely a lot easier sitting here. PSA Dagger has a doctor cut slide, so I'm going to have another slide for it. The doctor cut really limits my options for dots. Oh, that's right. People asked me about that maybe about a year ago, I want to say. The doctor optic cut, right? People ask us if we're going to do different optics cuts, and right now we're comfortable with the Trijicon RMR flat. We are going to have to do a change for the 43 once we're good to make the 43. We're probably going to do RMR CC, but we'll see. We'll see what the market wants, what people want. But the doctor cut is for, what, Vortex optics, isn't it? Of course, here we have another one of our 19 zoom slides, the lightning stencil. And we've got these in a few different colors too, but the white one seems to pop for a lot of people. There is one we have with like shimmer aluminum. So it has kind of that silvery... I have a shimmer here somewhere. Let's see. Yep, here we go. So here we kind of have shimmer aluminum in one of our hellets. It has metallic flake in it, so it kind of shines. So when we do a lightning stencil with it, that kind of shines out a bit. I mean, when it comes to cheap, I mean, ours are not, overly expensive. I mean, you're not going to find, well, that's not true. I was going to say you're not going to find a Stiffler slide for $100, but you might if it's on one of our blem sales on eBay. But, and that's if you don't mind there being a blem. And the blem could be anything from, you never know, it's a real gamble. It could be anything from the Cerakote didn't cure properly to you getting a tool mark, when the optic, because when that happens, basically the tool broke during the cut, and then it created a scratch or a gouge. The slide still functions, just it doesn't look as pretty. Or sometimes it's just a poor Cerakote cure. Maybe they had some air in the line or some moisture in the line, and it sprayed it incorrectly on one slide. And instead of sanding it back, that's just like, blem. What, kitty cat? What? Cat wants attention. It's character, yeah. Quite a few people, actually, people who like to do their own coatings, they will purposely get a blem slide, sand it back themselves, or do some sort of laser cleanup, and then they'll do their own engraving, or they'll do their own coating. And so people like blem slides just to try things out, or just to do their own stuff to it. Which, of course, we actually found a business that wanted to buy a bunch of our blems, reached out to us, and he's like, hey, can I get like 10 or 20 of them? And we're like, sure. But, all the blems are boxed up. You don't know what you're going to get. The blem could be a scratch mark. It could be a Cerakote cure issue. And we're like, what are you doing them? We're like, if you don't mind telling us. And he's like, oh, I'm going to strip them back, and I'm going to do my own coating. And then I'm going to do a resale. And we're like, oh, would you like to just buy raw slides from us? We do that for businesses that do their own coatings or do their own engraving, or like if any of you guys have seen Frag Out Design, like if he wanted a bunch of slides, he'd be like, yeah, dude, we'll just give them to you raw. No coating, no nothing on them. And then you can do your thing. I did also buy that dagger some years back now and didn't know quite as much. Yeah, and there's been a lot of growth in the Second Amendment community over the last couple of years. Post-COVID, a lot of people got into firearms, and it's been a mix of people wanting to help new people in the community and people being weary of new people in the community. And for those of you that follow a lot of the court cases, you kind of understand why some people are weary. But at the same time, new people in the community, I say embrace them. The Second Amendment needs all the support it can get. But let's see, if we go from strip slides, let's go with one of our base zooms. Right now, about $1.45 at the lowest. And then if we go up to the 17s for a complete slide, let's go with the Viper. So yeah, $145 to $275. That's our range right now. And that depends on if you're getting a stripped, bare model, or complete. With ports and, threaded barrel or what have you. So, I think we're fairly well affordable compared to quite a few of the other companies that are out there. Not to mention that we do sales, too, or that we have, if you're militarily affiliated, you get a discount. First responder, you get a discount. And then we usually have some kind of sale going on near certain holidays and things like that help you save a little bit more so you can buy more ammo. Trying to get together a petition currently to fight my state, California, and New York and Hawaii. They do not have the authority to regulate. Absolutely they don't. Yet they keep doing it. They keep trying. They keep losing in court. We have actually sadly had to cut shipments off from California because Currently, they are going through and they're trying to find businesses that mess up shipping to them so they can initiate a lawsuit and basically just ruin that business. So we're not playing with California at the moment. If things change, I'd love to keep shipping there again. There were a lot of Californians who were good customers. We tried supporting local FFLs, and even they cut off. They were just like, "No, we're not importing slides." And we're just like, "Okay, well, the local FFLs we can't do it, and then the shipping we can't do it." And it's like, "Well, all right, we'll try California. Hopefully, they can lose in court again." Sadly, wasting more of the taxpayers' money to fight in court. Or hopefully the locals can come together and oust the people that keep doing these stupid laws. Absolutely it is, Alpha. I mean, heck, they just lost a huge one. You know, if you happen to be a member of Gun Owners of America or Firearms Policy Coalition or, yep, everyone involved with the Form 1 and Form 4 for suppressors and short barrel rifles and short barrel shotguns. I'm sure you guys are following the news. I mean, they lost a hefty one. So now we just got to see if California is going to lose this. Trying to just bypass the courts completely with direct petition votes because the courts mean nothing. They'll just appeal. Absolutely. They will continue to appeal. You know, the interesting thing, that is one of the beliefs about the current suppressor SBR SBS thing going on, is that they did not appeal because they don't want to lose at the Supreme Court. Right now it's just a federal court. It hasn't gone up to the circuit courts, it hasn't gone up to the Supreme Courts. So right now it just affects the people they said it affects, you know, GOA members and the like. But if it goes up to the federal court, or if it goes up to the Supreme Court, I mean, and they lose there, all of a sudden it's national precedent. Yeah. All of a sudden, any states that had issues with it, it gets struck down. So there is a reason that they did not appeal. Yet. They might try and change that later. They still have some time. But that's the general belief, is the reason they did not appeal is because if they lose again at the higher levels, it's all undone. Yeah, California confuses the heck out of me. There was one time where we used to have to travel to California for things, and we purposely bought firearms to be in compliance with California's laws while we were traveling there. And the funny thing is, like, I have a CCW for when I travel across the country, and California does not recognize my CCW. So, like, here I am trying to do the right thing to be in compliance with other states' stupid laws, but they've made it so I can't be in compliance, which is their whole goal. I know, you just want attention, I know. Thankfully, she doesn't jump up on here while I'm doing lives anymore, though it has been a while since I've done a live, so maybe she will, who knows. She used to like to jump up and just knock things over. Oh yeah? Talkative this morning. Let's go grab my coffee real quick. go. Oh, back again. Let's see. It would be in the petition states do not have the authority to regulate who or what people can carry. That is all at the federal level. Yeah. This was all brought about by my last firearms transfer getting canceled by the DOJ on a technicality that has never been a problem before. It really is an us versus them kind of thing. That's kind of the way they think. I've met a lot of amazing cops out there and people who work in law enforcement or in the judiciary, and great people, love the Constitution, love the supporting and defending people's rights. But even they admit that there are people in their own communities that kind of get hard on basically oppressing people. It's like, oh, I'm part of the better class. And it's like, no, you're not. And this comes from, some of you may or may not know or may not remember, Stiffler Manufacturing has quite a few veterans or military family members working with it. And one of the people who assists us occasionally also a former member of law enforcement. And so to us, we sit there and look at this and go, no, we are not better than anybody. And we don't know everything either. As much firearms experience as I have from being a soldier, from going off and doing shooting competitions, from doing Second Amendment political advocacy, I don't know everything. I don't know everything about guns. There's stuff I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. And I don't mind saying that. And I think you will find when you get to those people who are like, I know everything, it's my way or the highway, you'll find they don't know a lot either. It's just they're a little more arrogant about it. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that you don't know everything about guns. I've never shot every single gun that's out there. I've shot a lot of guns. I've shot guns people have never shot. But there's someone out there who always knows more than you do. And that's okay. Because the whole point of the Second Amendment community is to continue learning. You're always going to find something you don't know. I knew a guy who was one of the most amazing marksmen I'd ever seen in person. And sun in his eyes and everything. And the guy is just an expert level marksman, taking down targets left and right. We put a single action Army revolver in his hand and he didn't know what to do. He's like, I've never shot a revolver. I've never shot a... He's like, how does this operate? He's like, walk me through this. But if you were to put an M4 in his hand, or an M9, or an M17, or if you were to put an M110 in his hands, the guy can make it sing. We put a revolver in his hands and he didn't know what to do. And I've seen that with cops too. A lot of cops know what their duty weapon is, whether it's a Glock or a SIG or, Smith & Wesson, whatever they have, usually semi-automatic. You put an older firearm in their hands and they have no idea what to do. I was involved with an incident once where I got temporarily detained. I was the witness of a crime and reporting everything. And I let the officer know, just in case, maybe my shirt rode up and I didn't want to freak the cops out. I'm like, I am carrying concealed right now. I have an appendix carry revolver. There's a 357 right there. And the cop asked, where's the safety? And I'm like, well, it's a revolver. There are no safeties. And he's like, it's right here. There is no safety. Just be careful there. It's in a real basic holster. Just a little leather holster. And I'm like helping him out, like getting it out. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, I have no experience. And he openly admitted in front of me and in front of his sergeant, he had no experience with revolvers. And I'm like, oh, well, I recommend going down to your local gun range. Just ended up getting into conversation with him. Go down to your local gun range. There's a lot of rentals that you can get that you can, feel out. Or even if you're not just there to rent and shoot, you can actually just, feel out guns and, let the guy at the counter talk you through it and be like, this is what you're looking for. And like, oh, hey, I have no experience with this. Like, can you show me some revolvers? Or, hey, I have no experience. Can you show me this? I'm like, yeah, when you just get some free time or something. And he's like, well, pretty much all I know is like Glocks and ARs. And I'm like, yeah, that's, department issue stuff, right? that ended up being the whole conversation. It's like for a lot of veterans, a lot of their experience is just what they've used in the military. So for older, you're looking at your M16s, your M9s, your M203s, 249s, 240s. I'm saying a lot of stuff there for some of you that might not know. I know. Your rifles, pistols, machine guns, grenade launchers. And then for newer soldiers, you got your M4, your M4A1, your M320 grenade launcher. They're switching from the 249 to the 250. They're switching from the M4 to the M7 now, apparently. Switching to whole new caliber, from 5.56 to 6.8. And so old soldiers, new soldiers, they're going to know what they were trained with, same as cops. That's it. They're going to know what they know. I highly recommend everybody go out and just start experimenting with different guns. Go to a range that lets you rent them for like $5 or $10 a pop plus the ammo. And well, some are going to be a little more, but go out and find some of these range. Like for example, no, that's not correct. I have fired a Desert Eagle, but it's been like 10 years since I've fired a Desert Eagle. I don't really personally have an interest in owning one, but I did have an interest in shooting it. Same thing with a few others, like the Smith & Wesson 500. I don't really feel like owning one personally. That's just my preference, but I do want to shoot one. I haven't shot one yet. I would love to shoot one. I will probably go to a range and rent one and shoot it at some point. Why? Just for the experience. I've held it now. I've fired it. It's just another little bit of information in the back of the mind. Okay, now I've held this. Now I've done this. I don't think I could deal with Cali laws, especially after living near... Oh, yeah. Don't deal with them if you don't have to. Illinois is bad. I got a friend up in Illinois, and I feel bad for him so much because we occasionally talk about firearms and gun laws, and he keeps me up to date. That is the biggest thing for businesses, is staying up to date on all the crazy little laws. I'm sure maybe you guys didn't know, but let's say, for example, I don't know, let's pick a state. Wyoming. Let's say Wyoming decides to ban, I don't know, RMR optics cuts for some reason. Because somehow RMR optics cuts are suddenly scary. I don't know. But just for instance. And let's say we were not aware of that. And we continue to ship slides to Wyoming while they had this RMR ban. They could then say, well, you are helping facilitate people having this ban by shipping slides here. And I'm like, no. Like, we just have the slide. It's not a complete build. Therefore, it's not. They're like, no, we feel that you are helping facilitate the violation of our laws. And so they send us a $10,000 fine. They can do that. That's the thing. New York does that to businesses. California has done that to businesses. Usually they send a cease and desist first, but they don't have to. So that's where they hurt small businesses, which is why it's so important for, if you have your own business, to periodically go through and check laws. Heck, use AI as help. Don't always trust AI, but use it as a good research tool and say, hey, what gun laws have affect this? And then go and do your own research and confirm. And if you're running a small 2A related firearms business and you don't have the money to have like a legal team on standby to do this stuff for you, you're going to have to use Google Magic and get in there and do it yourself. Because those states, like for example, look what happened to Polymer 80. Those states just sued them into the ground. They will do it to other businesses. You have to be aware, unfortunately. It's incredibly crappy, but you have to be aware. Illinois is a great example. Threaded barrels, not okay, right? Now, you could be in possession of a threaded barrel. You could own a threaded barrel. But the moment you install it, it becomes an assault weapon somehow, magically. But we have threaded barrels at Stiffler Manufacturing. We don't sell a whole lot of them, but we have them. Do we send them to Illinois? No, we don't. Because, Illinois might decide, oh, hey, Stiffler Manufacturing, you are facilitating. No, we're not. We didn't even violate the law, but they might decide we have. And that's where the court case comes up. So you've always got to be aware of stuff like that. Revolvers are their own thing for sure. Absolutely. The M7 heard that, yes, apparently they have had some issues. They've done some testing with 101st Airborne, 82nd Airborne, the Special Forces groups. I want to say 10th Mountain has also done some testing with the M7. And maybe 1st Armor. I'd have to look it back up again. But anyway, apparently they've had some issues, and those issues are supposed to be fixed. They're going to be apparently fixing these. But we'll see what happens, because it was supposed to be the M5, and then it became the M7, and it might become the M8 now. We'll see what happens. But their plan is to swap from the 5.56 round to the 6.8, something that's just a little bit bigger, so that if they have to fight somebody who's wearing body armor, like maybe Russia, China, who knows, that they know that they can punch through it. That said, with a lot of the and this is getting into a different topic, but if you decide to go research the Russo-Ukrainian war that's been going on, feel free to look into supply and logistics issues. Feel free to look into what kind of armor both sides are using, and think about for your own needs as an American who just wants to be left alone, what you need for your own family's defense. Because there's a lot of interesting data coming out of conflicts like these. For example, when I was deployed, I was over on the Iraqi border, and it was around the time of the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan, the Karabakh War. That is, if I remember correctly, the first war where drones were used in combat with each other. And both sides are being, funded and supported by Turkey and Russia, if I remember right. And we were just kind of sitting there like, oh, this is kind of interesting. What's going on over here? But anyway, that kind of kicked off a whole research thing of like two near peer nations using drones against each other. And then the Russo-Ukrainian war kicked off. And hey, two near peer nations, or at least one being funded by near peer nations, using drones against each other. And it's, spawned a whole thing. But anyway, I digress. Let's see. I shot a 500 last month. I was expecting a lot more recoil. Really? I've seen a lot of the funny thing is people who put the 500 videos out, a lot of them do it for content generation, review, views and whatever. And I'm sure they post a lot of videos of people not shooting the 500 correctly or just struggling with the recoil. Fluffy Bunny Arsenal, what's going on, brother? Been a while. Yeah, it has been a little while since we've done a YouTube live. I'm planning on doing a Rumble live today, probably. Similar to this, just I'm trying to get back into kind of a good live schedule. Like I know Dark does, like Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, I don't want to do lives around the same time he does because I want to participate in his lives too. So I don't know, maybe I'll do like a Monday, Wednesday. I don't know. I'll figure something out. Or maybe I'll just do it before his lives start or after. Well, I can't do it after because he ends his lives so late. I usually got to go to bed. So maybe I can do something beforehand. I don't know. I want to figure out a schedule to start doing lives on a regular basis again. Doing it here on YouTube this morning just because it's easy. It's always been easy to start up a live with YouTube. Rumble's a little more of a pain. But Rumble will continue to grow. I think Rumble will continue to get features, and Rumble will continue to improve its process as people use it. But yeah, trying to get back on a regular live schedule. We've been focusing on other things. For those of you who are new, who are just hanging out, haven't chatted yet, I'm Robert with Stiffler Manufacturing. 90% of the time when you're talking to somebody online, it's me. But then there's also Justine. If you're dealing with eBay or if you're dealing with the sales on our website, you're dealing with her. Occasionally she's online for customer service type stuff. But yeah, you're either talking to me or her most of the time. And we're trying to figure out a schedule. We've been dealing with other marketing things, talking to other businesses. Right now, for example, I'm reaching out to mom and pop shops and small vendors who want to try and get slides in their shop, but maybe they can't afford the rates for bigger companies like maybe Zev or Safiri, whatnot. And we can supply that. We have sales sheets for smaller numbers. If a mom and pop shop only wants 5 slides, we can work with them and we can give them a decent rate. That said, we also work with distributors too. We've got Delta Team Tactical, Davidson Defense, I'm forgetting one right now. Mega Tactical and MMC Armory. We have distributors that we supply slides to where someone wants to order 100 slides, 500 slides, 1,000 slides. We do that. But we also want to help out the little shops too. You know, maybe your shop can only handle 10 slides or 20 slides or 5 slides. You know, we have sales sheets for that. We're helping smaller businesses out when we can. I mean, obviously you're going to get better rates on buying 500 slides than you would 5 slides, but you know, still we have rates that help smaller businesses out. Those Desert Eagles are very accurate. I had a friend had the 44 mag version, and it's a chunk. Yes. Man, it's been like 10 years since I shot one, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. I shot the 50 Action Express. Oh, that could be possible, Alpha. That could be possible. That said, and I called this, a few buddies of mine, we were talking about drone warfare and how drones are going to impact the future of warfare and how it's going to impact terrorism, how it's going to impact revolutions and civil wars, things like that. And a lot of, I was thinking of old school tactics, like what can be used. And sure enough, it's already appeared on the battlefield. People using birdshot and buckshot. People using shotguns against drones. And it has actually worked. Not always. There was a recent a training drill with the U.S. Army and Ukrainian forces doing a training, and soldiers did attempt to shoot down drones, and it did not work so well. And they also showed this going on in Western Europe, where they were trying to shoot down drones, and they actually brought in skeet shooters to teach them how to actually skeet shoot to shoot towards drones, because it's a different type of shooting. Now, I myself, I have not done a lot of skeet shooting, so, but they actually brought in like professional, qualified skeet shooters to actually come in and say, hey, this is how we shoot, and then they were actually taking down drones with it. And so there's different kinds of shooting skills that you can learn. Like I said, nobody knows everything. I don't skeet shoot often. I haven't done it in years. So, as you can imagine, a soldier who never skeet shoots, all of a sudden getting taught to skeet shoot to possibly track a drone and take it out. There are, of course, electronic defenses, but they don't always work, especially when the drone has fiber optic cable attached to it. As you might see, I know we're delving back into this a little bit, as you might see during the Russo-Ukrainian war, trees and power lines and houses are littered with fiber optic cable right now, because the more traditional jamming techniques that were working don't work when they have a direct line connection. So now they're figuring out different ways to jam those same drones and then shoot them down. So it's really interesting. And if it's something you're planning for prepping, or for your personal home defense, or whatever might happen in the future, it's just something to be aware of. And then maybe if you're going to plan on shotgun training, maybe pick up skeet training, maybe pick up skeet shooting and moving target training. There's always something to learn and improve on. Stay dangerous. What's going on, brother? I have that feeling something is going to happen soon. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's possible. I tell you right now, a lot of people, when they were going through, when NATO was going through and warning European countries to keep certain things in their home for 3 weeks, make sure you have enough canned and dry goods for 3 to 4 weeks. Make sure you have a radio. Make sure you have water. Same thing for America, especially if you live in certain communities. Those of us who live in certain communities, certain climates, certain regions, if you're off in a small town, or you're off in a wooded area, or you're off in a desert, you know that you need water, and that you need canned food, and you need dried goods, and you have to food prep. Or those of you who live along the East Coast with the hurricanes. Because I remember when we were in North Carolina, we had a big old hurricane that knocked down power for a few days, and people who didn't have food stocked in their cupboards and couldn't go to the stores. And it's always about having a little bit extra. A great one is tuna. beans, pasta, rice, stuff that lasts for 2 years or more in a can or in a box, so long as you store it correctly. Like tuna lasts 18 to 24 months, just in water tuna. Great protein. You know, mix it in with, cook it up with some rice and maybe a little bit of seasoning if you got. And there you go. You've got your carbs, you've got your protein. And if you have vegetables, great. Mix it all together. You've got yourself a nice little rice dish. You know, stuff that you need to prepare for when you live in certain areas. Like when Texas got that huge blizzard that, you know, the East Coast laughed about because they're like, oh, it's not a huge blizzard in comparison. Like, well, yes, but if your infrastructure is not prepared for things like that, because Texas doesn't have that kind of climate, the people weren't prepared for it, and people literally froze to death. You've got to have certain things in your home to prepare for. Like even in desert states like Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Nevada, people are like, well, why do you guys have winter coats? Isn't it a desert? Isn't it hot? Deserts get cold. In the winter, deserts get very cold. When I was in the Middle East, you'd think it's hot all the time. No, it gets actually really cold there. We had a time of the year where it flooded, and because it's sand, as you can imagine, there's no moisture in the sand whatsoever. So instead of the sand just absorbing everything, the water literally just washed over it and created a huge flood. Post that flooding, when it got cold, the sand froze, which looks really weird when you're walking on frozen sand, by the way. But the sand actually froze. It gets cold in deserts. You need to have certain clothing, certain foods prepped, certain things for certain environments. Like there's a reason people who live in Montana and Wyoming and Oregon have 10 millimeter and higher caliber guns rather than just 9 millimeter. Why? Because their animals there are a little bigger. If you live in certain regions, you need certain things. And a lot of people don't think that way because a lot of people live in suburban areas or in cities. You need certain stuff. The drone stuff is crazy already. It's just going to get worse. Absolutely. On a personal level, people are like, oh, look at these cute little drone shows like at Disney and stuff. No, that's a terrorism event waiting to happen. I'm good. I don't want to watch those. I'm going to stock up on rice, beans, chicken, both cubes, water. Yeah, get some stuff. And you don't have to get it all at once. Just get it over time. During your bi-weekly, monthly, whatever shopping trip, maybe just pick up, okay, this time we're going to pick up an extra case of water. This time we're going to pick up some extra toilet paper. This time we're going to pick up some extra, first aid stuff. This time we're going to pick up extra tuna. It doesn't have to be all at once. And the great thing is a lot of this stuff, it stays good so long as the can isn't dented or rusted, or so long as you keep your dry goods dry. Pick up plastic containers for your rice and your beans, your lentils. Get dried goods and learn how to cook from them again. I've gone through multiple times cooking meals, like just figuring out how to do meals, simple, hearty meals out of dried and canned goods. That's cheap. Just because, what if? Because it would just suck to just eat, okay, we're eating this can tonight. No, learn how to mix things together. Learn how to season things up with dried goods and, Just because things suck doesn't mean you can't have a good meal. Yeah, solid water, that's a big issue, especially for like us, Arizona. We don't have a lot of water. People think we do because they live in suburban areas and cities, and there's water available, but all of a sudden that goes away pretty quick. Get a lot of firewood, ammo, batteries. I'm looking for a good solar. Yeah, a good solar generator and a good diesel generator too. A lot of people, when the Texas thing happened, a lot of people were okay because they had RVs, and the RV had a generator, and they were able to run things off that. So that they actually, people who had generators were able to run their heating because they had that. But then people learned how to create, small heat sources again, like little ceramic ovens. People learned how to recreate those because of how cold it got. Because they generate quite a bit of heat. Alpha says the Oops brand works well. Saved my fridge and freezers when a tornado knocked. Yeah, man, anybody who lives in like high weather areas, tornadoes, hurricanes, flood zones, you need to be prepped. USS Liberty, Iran Contra affair. Okay. Yes, they are. 17.4 stainless steel to be specific. Here is one of the bars that we mill down. So we don't use blanks. We actually mill steel bars down into the slide. And 17.4 stainless. Bit sturdier than 416, which is what a lot of companies use. Let's see. Let's go with the white one. SM19. Actually, this one we have test fired, as you can see. Gets a little bit of that burnt marshmallow look down in there. But that is our SM19 Viper. One of the older ones. These fit the Generation 3 Glock 19 and Glock 17. We are also looking to release the Generation 4 Glock 26 style slides. And of course, if you know what you're doing, you know, swap that plate. You can make it fit on a Gen 4 or a Gen 5. Not a Gen 6 though. They've changed some stuff. You can't make them fit the Gen 6. But they will fit Gen 4s and Gen 5s if you know what you're doing. We almost made a SIG slide, but then things happened, as I'm sure everyone remembers, and we just decided not to. We've debated doing a 1911, but if we decided to do 1911, we might as well just get an FFL and make the frames too, because a lot of 1911s are they got to be fitted, and if we ended up doing 1911 slides, we might as well just do the frames too. Polymer's a lot stronger than people think it is, especially now. Like even the military using polymer frames for weapons. And I can tell you part of the reason of that, of course, is the Middle East. Metal gets incredibly freaking hot. They actually had a standing order to not wear your metal pins, badges, rank on your uniform while you were deployed because they would burn you. So guns with metal frames would burn you if you were in the Middle East. You'd have to be wearing your gloves, but even then that heat transfer still happens. Freaking awesome. Stay dangerous. I love that. And feel free to pop in on our Facebook sometime and like show pictures, man. I love that. I love seeing people's builds. I love seeing people's range videos. It's always so cool. And everyone does it differently too. Like, so somebody could take this, I could get 10 people together with this same slide and they'd all do something different. It's freaking cool. It is kind of a pain. There's a lot of issues with it. There's a lot of struggle with it. Some people are like, oh, you must be making a lot of money. And it's like, nah, we make enough. Not as much as we'd like. But turning this into this is not easy. Anybody can do it if you can get the funding for it, if you can sit down and educate yourself on how to do programming, on how to run a CNC. Anybody can technically do it. But that said, there are dozens and dozens of businesses that did the same thing we did, and they failed in the first year or two. It's not easy running a small business. It's not easy manufacturing gun parts. There's a reason not everybody does it. It's not easy. I knew a guy up in Massachusetts that was manufacturing, and they raided his shop and found 10 AR blanks that weren't registered within that year, and they gave him 10 years. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And there's sadly a lot of Americans live in some very anti-constitution states, and we don't. We live in a very pro-2A state. Fluffy Bunny, yeah, I don't have a 26 blank with me. There's one at the shop. We're trying to get together to do a range video of the 26 because we are making them for vendors and distributors right now. And we plan to, once we're done with all of our contracts with that, all of our obligations we have to the vendors and distributors, we are going to be releasing the 26 for retail. We'd like to try and get that done before SHOT Show, but life is life and things happen. So, but yeah, the 26 is being produced, and it will fit on a 26 frame. We currently have a Gen 4 26 frame from Glock OEM that we use as the test model for it. ATF is flock. They absolutely are. Yeah, there are flock cameras that have been caught near gun ranges. Yep. Used to work at a machine shop with a bunch of CNC. Not for me. Yeah, it's a pain. It's not for everybody. We've had a host of staff. Some of them are great. Some of them can't do it. That's okay. But life is different for everybody. It's not for everybody. My capacity with Stiffler Manufacturing is not really on the machining side. I do other stuff. So, have you all been out to SHOT Show? Yes, we've been to SHOT Show twice now, and we're planning on going again in this coming January. So this will be our third time coming up. We were there last January, met a lot of people. Really cool event. Huge, though. Absolutely huge. You're never going to see everything. It's way too big. No, less than a year out, Fluffy. The 26 is being actively produced right now. It's just we have contracts and obligations we have to with other companies first before we get it to retail. And the plan is to get it to retail before SHOT Show 2027. 26X slides will sell for sure. A lot of people are good. Yeah, we definitely want to get that out. And once the 26 is out for retail, we are immediately shifting into production. Not production. We're immediately shifting into testing, programming, creating the 43. And then once we get all done with that, we'll start on production. My recommendation, Liberty, is pick up a Palmetto State Armory dagger frame when they're on sale. You'll get one for like 40 to 50, maybe 60 tops. Then go find a slide you like. Maybe you like little top action. Maybe you like something a little more classic. Where is it? With some front grip serrations. Go find something you like. Go find a parts kit you like. Build it on the cheap, and then just dial it in the way you like it. And you could probably get one made for $200-300-ish. Don't go too cheap on the parts kits, mind you, because that's usually where people have some problems, is they go cheap on the parts kits. But just build it up the way you like it. Pick whatever style you like. Maybe you want ported, maybe you want standard. Just dial it in. Maybe you want to throw an optic on it. All of ours are optic cut, so that way if you want an optic on it, you can. If you don't want an optic on it, just tighten down that RMR cover plate, maybe Loctite it down, or slap an optic on it, who knows. Actually, I'm going to go real quick and grab, I got it in the other room. I'm going to go grab it real quick and show you guys my daily carry. I'll be right back. Okay, back again. All right. Got to make it YouTube safe. But here we have the Stiffler Manufacturing SM19 Turbo Slide in our OD camo. So you're looking at 3 different camo colors: Desert Sand, FDE, and Mil Spec OD Green. It has a Siley Optics Wolf X Pro red dot. The barrel is ported and is from ELD Performance, 416R stainless steel, black nitride coated. The parts kit underneath is from SCT Manufacturing. And I carry this regularly. I put 1,300 rounds through this particular one with the optic, so I actually do carry this, take it out with me, show it off. It is my daily carry. Got some defense ammo in it. Stay away from Temu parts kits? Yes. Tolerance stacking is a thing. Absolutely. Absolutely it is. And we've had people, you know, talk to us and have complaints, and we dialed them in through it, and we're like, hey, maybe swap this. Swap this parts kit for an OEM, or maybe get an SCT, or, you know. And then they do, and they're like, oh yeah, I don't have any issues now. We're like, cool. Or they'll send one back to us, because we do have a warranty and testing program. If you're having an issue, we'll help you dial it in. And, you know, we bring it back and we slap our parts kit in it, you know, from SCT, and we're like, yep, runs just fine. No issues. Part of it is, and I get this is a touchy subject, especially for a lot of new builders. Everyone thinks they're right. And so they get a build, and maybe it's even a gun tuber. And they get a build, and they're struggling with it, and they can't, for some reason, think that, well, I must have messed up somewhere. Your best builders, your best content creators are going to be people who admit when they make a mistake. We're not perfect. If we mess something up, we're going to try and fix it for you. Absolutely. And as I've said before, I don't know everything about firearms. Brian with Stiffler Manufacturing, he doesn't know everything about firearms. Justine, she doesn't know everything about firearms. There's always something more to learn. But you will get gun tubers, you will get new builders, you will get people who are just like, well, I did this. We had a guy do that. You know what he did wrong? He installed the EDP backwards. And he's like, well, it must be your slide. I'm like, let's do this over video. Let's take it apart. And he did, and his EDP was in backwards. Like, sometimes you just gotta admit, hey, you messed up. And it happens. Happens to the best of us. And we're not the best of everybody. We make mistakes too. It's just, sometimes people just can't admit it, though. Let's see. Optic on the right is what I have on my SM17 Turbo, 800 rounds, excellent performance. This one right here, the Wolf EDG. I haven't tested it yet. It's been out of the box a few times. I've shown it off. I haven't tested it yet. I have tested the one that's on this slide here, the Wolf X Pro. And I love that one. And this one is supposedly a more durable version of the Wolf X Pro. So I'm curious about it. I do want to test it some more. I go with Shadow Systems kits for my lower parts. Yeah, Shadow Systems has a good rep. Toy Town, what's going on? Marine Gun Builder, yeah. You know, Marine Gun Builder might actually still ship to California. He might be one of the few people that still is. I haven't checked in on him in a while. But I was in a live DLD After Dark, Marine Gun Builder. A bunch of us were in there commenting. And this was a little while back, mind you. But he was still shipping to California. So kudos to him if he still is. He's taking a lot of risk. and, you know, support the guy. He's been doing good work for years. I should reach out to him about our slides again. It's been a while. We've been in business for almost 4 years now. I should reach out to him again. Yeah. Exactly. Yes, it's dangerous. None of us are going to know everything. Always be down to ask questions. Always be down to ask questions. I'm never going to tell you I know everything. I'm never going to tell you Stiffler Manufacturing's way is the only way. No. Try stuff, and if you guys learn something, you find something out, tell us. Always happy to hear about new stuff. Always happy to hear about new things going on with slides and builds. It's too big a market. It's too big a community for any one company or any one group or any one gun tuber to know it all and run it all. Like some people have asked, like Marconi, Marconi, they make slides too, and they're like, one guy literally came out and asked, like, Stiffler, how are you guys friendly with them? Aren't they competition? I'm like, yeah, they are, but they're nice guys, veterans too, just like us. And they make slides, but they make something different than we do. They're not trying to copy us. We're not trying to copy them. Some people are going to like Marconi. Some people are going to like Stiffler. Some people are going to like both. So there's no, we don't see a reason to not be friendly with each other. I hope they go to SHOT Show one year. I'd love to meet them in person. Heck, maybe we'll do business with each other someday. Who knows? There's no, we just don't see the point in the animosity that some other businesses have done over the years, and it's just too big an industry. Not any one of us can rule it all. Like some people love Glock, some people hate Glock, some people love Ruger, some people hate Ruger. Some people love Stiffler and they're like, oh, that's a great slide, I love that. And some people are like, yeah, but I like Shogun, or I like Marconi, and it's like, that's okay. We're still going to encourage them to give our slides a try, but we're in that weird little area where our stuff isn't super cheap, like Remsport, where they had those 416 base model slides that are like $100, which is pretty cool. That they have them that cheap. That's awesome. But we're also not super expensive like Zev Zafiri, Grey Ghost, that area where things are like 4 or 5. We're not Novesk, or Agency Arms, where they're like really up there. Those guys have earned their name, they've earned their reputation, which is part of the reason they charge as much as they do. They have quality products, but we're somewhere in the middle where we're not bottom of the barrel. We do 17.4 stainless steel, but you're getting quality steel and a good slide for, in my opinion, a better, more affordable rate for the average builder. Because there's other 17.4 companies out there that, this very slide here that I want to say we're at like $180 on. Here we go. Just, there we go. Burnt bronze, real simple, front grip serrations, Trijicon RMR, flat optic cut, aluminum cover plate. There's other companies making something very similar to this out of 416 with no RMR, no optic cut, and nothing going on up front. And we're charging like $150. They're charging, $300 for the same thing. I think we're in a good little area where we can support the average builder, and where even some other people like FV Ordnance, who does shooting competitions, has tried our slides out at competitions and has run it. His only thing is that we use an SCT manufacturing parts kit, and because he's a competition shooter, he needs a higher quality parts kit. That's understandable. Like, I've dumped 1,300 rounds through this one here, but I'm not a competition shooter. I have attended competitions, but it's not my regular thing. And so I don't need a competition grade parts kit. But if you're shooting all the time, or you just want something that's a little higher quality, pick up a strip slide and then go get a competition grade parts kit and barrel. Metal touches metal and plastic touches. Yes. I only buy slides from 2 companies, yours and KM. Oh, right on. I don't think I have a KM slide at all. KM Tactical, right? I don't think I have one of their slides. Have you experimented with micro slick and robar? No, not yet. There are some of our slides out there that are now nitride coated, but that's because, so we only do Cerakote. H series primarily, a little bit with F series and FX series, but primarily H series. And there are some companies out there who picked up our slides wholesale, and then they decided to coat them in nitride. There are some companies that want to do it in DLC too, so that might happen in the future. We'll see. So we only do Cerakote though. As we grow and expand as a business, maybe we will add on additional coatings from us, but there are companies that buy our slides that coat them in nitride. So there's other options out there, slowly getting more of them. And we'll see, you know, who knows, maybe we'll meet some cool businesses at SHOT Show again this January, and maybe they'll want to do some coatings like that. Oh, and this is actually a good one to show too. Let me pull out the parts kit here. So 1,300 rounds through this, right? Now you can see, it's a little hard to tell. Let me try and up the light. There we go. Okay, you can see a little bit of the char, right? And you can see a little bit of the Cerakote wear. Some of this from the holster. You can see that right there. As well as right here. You can see some of that wear. That's from holstering and unholstering. And you can see a little bit of that, you know, a little bit of that wear right here. But after 1,300 rounds, Cerakote's still going strong. If you take care of it, it'll keep going. And you can see a little bit of the scratching holster wear here too. Oh, and we do use, and it's kind of hard to see on this one. Can you guys see the circle hole there? So some people think these are Gen 5s because of that hole. It's not. These are Gen 3s. We have modified the firing pin hole from the slot to circle, and they do fire with Gen 3 firing pins. And some people have tested them. We've not 100% confirmed this, but some people have tested them that their Gen 3s are working with Gen 5 firing pins because we made that modification. And we've done that. We've had this modification in place for like 2.5 years now, and it has not been an issue. I'm running a Gen 3 firing pin in this. So we made that modification, and they do work. So if you're ever looking at a Stiffler slide, we don't make Gen 5s yet. Once we do start making Gen 5s, like actual, we're going to start labeling them, you know, Gen 5. It'll be like SM19, you know, this case is Zoom, SM19 Zoom Gen 5, Gen 3, whatever. So you guys will start to see that in the future. So that way there's no confusion over what fits what. That said, of course, Gen 3 can swap onto a Gen 5. Someone took one of our Gen 3 Leonidas slides and put it onto a Glock 45 Gen 5 frame. Glock is Legos, most of the time. You can make stuff fit if you just swap around certain parts. I've heard good things and bad things. I don't have experience with KM, so I can't say one way or the other. That said, I'm sure people have heard good things, bad things about us too, you know. Like one of the complaints we actually get on eBay is about shipping. There's nothing we can do about shipping. Once we've manufactured the product and packaged it and given it to the post office, the shipping time is entirely in the post office's wheelhouse. I think Amazon got people a little too used to like instant 1-day, 2-day, 3-day shipping. And it's like, no, the rest of the world still uses FedEx and UPS and US Postal Service. Yeah, nothing gets there in 1 to 3 days. Like, it's a big country. Sorry. If you order something from us in Arizona and you live in Maine, it's going to take a minute. And if there's heavy weather, you're going to delay a little bit. That makes sense. What you might be able to do with that is do a little bit of sandpaper or do a Dremel, a little bit of Dremel action. For example, like when we get a PSA frame, their rails sometimes have just a little bit of extra material on them, and so we just polish the rails. Or you can rack the slide 100, 200, 500 times or shoot it. That said, if you end up getting one of our camos, we do our best to mitigate it, but there's always a tiny chance, and as you can see, I'll pull this back apart again. As you can see, the bottom layer is only just the one color, that's because we're not trying to get excess Cerakote in there. There's always a chance it could happen. There's always a chance, but we do our best to make sure it doesn't get on the internals. And if it does, just inspect your rails, just inspect the internals, and see if you might need to take a pick, or you might need to polish it, or it can happen. And I would say most of the time it doesn't happen. Our painters have gotten very good with the stencils, and it is almost entirely, it's an all outside thing. We don't bother. I've seen some other companies. Oh, here's a great one. We have a lot of different colors on this one. But as you see, the internal is only one color. There's no real bleed over. But you will see this sometimes with some other companies where there's a little bit of bleed that happens. And so if you're having an issue there, that might just be something you need to rack a bunch of times or fire, get that break-in period. Especially if you notice like you got something like a camo or a heavy stencil work. If it's a single color, it really shouldn't happen at all. Unless it's like white. White slides often require an extra coat. So, yeah, like this one here. Most white slides require 2 coats. Now, that's pretty common. So if you're getting a white slide, just be cognizant of that there might be an extra layer of Cerakote, and you might have to work through that. But just for the nature of white slide, it doesn't matter what kind of white. It could be a matte white, a gloss white. It could be Arctic white. It could be Stormtrooper white. It doesn't matter what it is. They almost all require an extra coat. Amazon has spoiled people. I remember either 4 to 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. Oh, God. Okay, so we've never been that heavy. All of our shipping time is 1 to 2 weeks. And we've gotten complaints from businesses that buy our slides about other business. We're not going to go into the weeds of that, but where they said, hey, it's taken such and such business 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks to ship us slides. And we're like, yeah, we do it in 1 to 2 weeks. Now, if you order like 1,000 slides from us, you're probably not getting those in 2 weeks. But week 3, week 4, you are going to get those 1,000 slides. And just the 1 to 2 weeks has been standard. We've as long as we've been in business, the almost 4 years that we've been in business, we've been able to keep 1 to 2 weeks. I had it happen with my white slide with blood splatter on it. Oh, yeah. So in that case, you're getting 2 layers of white, and then you're getting the splatter. The splatter, not so much of an issue, but man, we all getting old. I don't mind waiting on shipping as long as it ain't 3 to 6 weeks. Yeah, see, 3 to 6 weeks is rough. Though certain times, I can tell you there was a steel shortage a while back and a parts shortage. And that created some shipping time delays a while back. And thankfully, we were getting stuff from certain companies, and we were able to, that's a whole thing. But it didn't impact us as much as it did some of our competitors. And we were just, out chatting with people. And even when we went to SHOT Show, some admitted like, oh, yeah, those certain months were rough because they struggled to get steel in. And it wasn't just like a 1 or 2 company thing. It was a national thing. There was a problem getting steel in. So sometimes, like the entire thing is logistics of industry, right? The logistics of business is that the person who makes this, if they are delayed, everybody who makes stuff like this is delayed. If you're looking for parts kits and those get delayed, your completes get delayed. The entire thing gets delayed by just a tiny little, chink in the chain. Just something gets delayed anywhere in the line, and everybody gets delayed. And that's just the nature of national logistics when it comes to business, or international in some cases. And, if Cerakote for some reason is delayed, if they had some kind of accident or, some kind of shipping delay that affected, who everybody they're shipping out to, that would affect any business that uses Cerakote. Any business is ordering steel. If they had some sort of issue with the quality of the ore they're getting in from the forge, and the steel bars they're cutting, everybody along the chain gets delayed. So stuff like that happens, and people don't realize just kind of like how fragile the entire logistics of shipping is. I'm sure you might have heard the term like food desert, right? The average supermarket, if they're not getting regular shipments in from, their semi trucks and everybody that's bringing in everything in, hauling it in, they have 3 to 7 days worth of food on hand. So like people who live in cities all of a sudden run out of food. We're just dealing with it in a different capacity. If there's any kind of delay, it's like, oh, hey, there was a delay on barrels. And it's like, oh, crap, we can't sell completes or sell individual barrels because there's been a delay. And we have to tell people, hey, there was a delay. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't put 2 and 2 together. They just go, oh, well, it's your business's fault. No. And it doesn't matter. It could be us. It could be, it could be Zev. It could be Grey Ghost. It could be KM Tactical. It could be whoever. The delay affects everybody. But people don't usually think beyond that. They just go, oh, well, I'm a customer and I was inconvenienced. And it doesn't even matter about gun part. That's everything. Delays in auto parts, delays in food service, delays in... It's a thing that happens to every single industry. Yeah, that 4 to 6 week was basically everything. When I saw 1 to 2 weeks, we thought it was fast. Yes. And the 4 to 6 weeks was rough. And that was just because businesses were experiencing high volume as well as delays in shipments of the parts and stuff they needed. And then when it got to 10 weeks, 16 weeks, 20 weeks in the case of one business, I don't know the details of why it was 20 weeks, but I just know one of them was 20 weeks. And it's just like, wow. But we have been able to keep it at 1 to 2 weeks. And, who knows? We might have an issue someday. Maybe the shop floods, or maybe there's a huge delay in steel. Stuff happens. But Amazon, with its mass network of warehouses and shippers and receivers, has created this new expectation that literally nobody else can do. FedEx can't do it. UPS can't do it. The Postal Service can't do it. And the businesses that use all of those services can't do it. Amazon has created something truly unique when it comes to shipping and receiving. Oh yeah, and communication delays back then were way worse than now. Now you can sit there and just email people and keep, calling them and emailing them and texting them, and you can eventually get a hold of somebody. Back then there was no texting, there was no email. Everything was snail mail and phone calls, and people might not answer, especially after business hours. People did not answer phone calls. Yes, that had to be a lot worse than it is now. And just people have gotten used to the quick, go. That any kind of delay makes them think, oh, well, you did this on purpose. And it's like, no. And again, it doesn't matter the industry. You could be selling cars. You could be selling sandwiches. Everything runs on this giant logistics network. And when there's any kind of interruption, whether it's bad weather or delay in parts being sent out, it affects everybody along the way. Oh, absolutely. Oh, and there was no tracking either. Yeah, like if we send a slide off to you, you get a tracking number. There was no tracking numbers that you could check in the 70s, 80s, 90s. There was no way for you to check that stuff. You just had to order it and go, okay, roughly it should be here between here and here. And then if there's a delay, it's like, okay, well, there was bad weather, so okay, this happens. Yeah, if you got something 6 weeks later, it was expected. But now when everyone can check, okay, I can check it. Hey, it says it's in Texas. Hey, it says it's in New Mexico. Hey, and it's like people start getting antsy about getting it, and that's just the nature of modern shipping. People can track it. People can see it. And then, but the funny thing is, sometimes people still get annoyed. And just so you guys are aware, if you order a complete slide from us, or if you order multiple slides from us, is that we require signatures. So a single slide, probably not. But if you ordered several, yeah. Or if you ordered a complete slide like this one here, yeah, we're going to do signature. And it's not because that we want to charge extra for shipping and stuff. We don't. It's out of necessity. We want to make sure you are getting your slide. And so if something happens, we can go, okay, well, there was signature required shipping. Let's see who signed for it. And it's absolutely necessary. And we've talked to other people in the same industry as us, and they're like, yeah, we do signature required shipping too. For orders over a certain amount or orders involving certain products. It's really common. And it's not because we wanted to inconvenience anybody, or it's not because they wanted to inconvenience anybody. It's because we want to make sure you got your product. You paid for it, you should get it. And sadly, some people treat it like it's well, you're just trying to, screw me over on my time. It's like, no, we're not. We want to make sure you got it. It's the same with any other business. It's not like we get to pocket the signature money, That just goes to the post office. It's not like we get to pocket that extra $5 to $10. But I'll admit the one thing that hasn't really changed is customer service and response. From talking to my grandparents, from talking to older gentlemen, is that the attitude towards customer service really hasn't changed that much in the last 40 years. Yeah, insurance on it too. And there's certain businesses I know that will not ship to certain cities anymore, Chicago being one of them, because they've gotten so many shipping scams that they just will not ship to Chicago anymore. And a few other cities too. I think Philadelphia is one of them, LA is one of them, where certain businesses will not ship to certain, not because of local laws, but because there's been so many people doing shipping scams that they just won't ship there anymore. They've cut off an entire city. And it's like, that's unfortunate, but I understand it from the business perspective. Back again. Making some more coffee. Yeah, people steal too much, so I always ensure my... Absolutely, yes. And we even had a few where a guy got angry once, and I understand why he's angry. He didn't get his package. Turns out he checked his camera, and we checked the signature from the post office. The guy's neighbor took it. The guy's neighbor signed for it. And I think he forgot that that those signatures get scanned in. And so the post office had a scanned copy of the signature. And we go, hey, is this, is this the customer's signature? And no, it was not. So they got the police involved, and his door camera, he had like a Ring or a Nest Cam or something, and caught it, and the police got involved, and yeah, it was a whole thing. But, it's just ended up being someone else signed for it and took it. And, yeah, it's unfortunate, but stuff like that does happen. And certain cities, it's more prone to it, unfortunately. Oh, there we are. But by all means, feel free to ask any questions. That's always been a real open thing for us. If you guys have questions, you're curious about something, by all means. Approaching the 2-hour mark, so I'll probably stay on a little bit longer. But yeah, if you guys are curious about how we do things, I'll try to answer it. Or if you go have builds you want to talk about, by all means. I can tell you one thing, working in a machine shop, if any of you have any experience from it, the amount of metal chips you get stuck in you. Right in your foot, in your leg, your hands, your arms. The amount of metal shavings that come off from doing CNC stuff, and it gets everywhere, and it comes home with you, and it tracks into carpets and the floor, and maybe you just go out and getting out of bed and walk out barefoot and you step on a chip. It happens. So that's something that's fun. What's this claim up that just came up on my screen? Claim up? What? Unfamiliar. Cloud key? Something? No idea. And of course, if I don't know the answer, I can always look it up, or, I'll make something up, however. But what are you guys looking to see? Like, we're going to SHOT Show, claim XP auto spell. Oh, okay. Like, what do you got? Like, we're going to SHOT Show. Are you guys looking to see something special? What are you looking to see from us in the future? That's the thing. Every time we come up with something new, everyone's like, hey, are you going to do this? And it's like, eventually? Eventually? We'll get this done or get that done, or can't do it all at once. That's the thing that happened over the last 3 years I've observed, is there were more than a few businesses that chased every single slide that people were asking for, and they ran themselves into the ground on just research and development. The sales did not cover the research and development costs for making every single slide. This almost hurt us once too, and we've since adjusted how we deal with it so we don't have this issue again in the future. But one of our best-selling slides, the Viper, this one here, this was a design that a client vendor / distributor requested, and we made this. We designed this up for them and made this, and we had made 200 of them, and they backed out last minute, and they weren't interested anymore. And of course, we're sitting there holding the bag. Like, we spent a bunch of money getting these steel bars, and then we spent a bunch of money machining those bars, and then Cerakoting all the slides. We had to clean them, sand them, Cerakote them, cure them, and then install all the RMR covers, and so all that parts and labor and effort and the financial cost of it, and they backed out last minute. And we're just like, okay, well, either you have to buy them or we have to sell them to someone else. And because they wanted regular shipments, they were talking about 200 slides a month up to like 400, 500 slides a month every single month. And they didn't end up doing it. And so now we're just like, okay, well, we threw the slides on our eBay and on our website, and we started selling them to anybody and everybody. And the Viper became one of our best-selling slides. Up until the Turbo, this one here, and then it was kind of a mix between the both. Some months Turbo did better, some months Viper did better. Some people really like the reduced weight of the Viper. The increased cyclic rate, the reduced weight, the increased heat dissipation. But some people preferred the Turbo because of a more traditional top ported window with front grip serrations. So like the Viper does have front grip serrations, but only a partial before it goes into the window. And it's got 3. So you are getting that reduced front weight. So it's something you might need to adjust for when you're making your build. Whereas the Turbo has just the 1 window. So there is reduced weight, but there's less heat dissipation. But pro is that you have those front grip serrations. So, it's a matter of preference, really. What are you using it for? For people who want to do things like FRTs, they tend to prefer the Viper because of heat dissipation and reduced weight. And they might change up the recoil spring a bit, different weights, if they're doing an optic or not. And they dial it in to what they want. And the Viper just works for them because of that reduced weight and heat dissipation. Also, just the appearance alone. I mean, throwing a barrel, you throw something like a copper PVD barrel or a rainbow PVD barrel in this, you've got 3 windows. You can see it from all sides. You've got that stylish little 3 window there on your side breech wall that lets you see the barrel that you can't see, with the Turbo. It just lets you see more of it. So it's an aesthetic choice. People really like it. And sometimes that's all it is with the builds. Sometimes people want something they can peacock the range with. Like, why did a lot of people buy Kimber, versus others? Because they looked cool. Because they were range candy. They looked nice and people liked it. Did they perform better? Yeah, maybe. It's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of, like some people say, does a Kimber 1911 perform better than a Colt 1911 versus a Ruger 1911 versus a Rock Island? Well, some people would say the Ruger and the Colt. And some people are like, no, Rock Island works just fine. And some people are like, no, the Kimber was great. Matter of preference. Really is. Like, for a long while, I had a huge preference for Ruger, especially the SR line. I really enjoyed the SR line. Didn't get to try the Security 9 and some of the later ones, but I picked Ruger over Glock for quite a while, up until we started getting involved in this, and then you can make your own clone builds and make things how you want to make it, and now I kind of prefer Glock. Still like my Rugers, but now I just kind of prefer it because there's more I can do with it. Especially since we're the ones making, so we're a little biased, of course. We're making our own slides. It makes it a little easier. But, for, like I mentioned earlier, an easy way to get into it, a cheap way to get into it, is pick up a PSA frame for like 40 to 60, and then just do your upper build however you like it. Maybe you pick up a cheap Stiffler for like 145, so now you're at like 185, and then, yeah, there you go. Yeah, if you get a good sale on the PSA frames when they're like 40, 45 bucks, and then you pick up a Stiffler slide for like 145, so they're at 185, 190. And then now you just need to find a parts kit you like that you can probably pick up for between another 40 to 80. Dial it in however you want to dial it in, and it's as cheap or as expensive as you like. But yeah. All right, we are just about at the 2-hour mark, so I'm going to open it up to final questions, grab my other coffee, and then I'm going to start popping in and doing some other work I got to do. Reaching out to businesses. If you guys know a business, maybe a small mom and pop gun shop that's interested in picking up slides, or maybe just a larger one that maybe they're looking for more options or maybe even just better rates, have them reach out to us. Maybe you work in the firearms industry and you're kind of curious and you want to get involved in this and pick up some slides for your business, complete slides, strip slides, whatever. Maybe you have something of a specific color you've been thinking about, and maybe we can make that happen for you. We are prepping for SHOT Show, 4 months. We are going to bring, if you happen to be going, please come, or if you know somebody who's going, tell them to meet up with us. More details will come out as we get closer. The last 2 years, we were on the Venetian first floor. That might change this year. We don't know. We're still getting details as we get closer and closer to it. Read other comments. Stay dangerous. If someone wants a special Cerakote color or design, can you do it? Second question, have you started doing engraving yet? Yes, kinda. Sorry, Stay Dangerous, I missed some of that there. Got on my own little rambling. So special Cerakote color, possibly. So if it's a color that we don't stock, I'll reach out to Justine, or I'll have you reach out to her. You let them know what color you're looking for. So maybe it's a color Cerakote has that we don't have, and we might just charge on an additional stocking fee. Like, let's say it's, I don't know, some kind of blue that we don't have, maybe Patriot Blue or something like that, and you want that and we don't have it, then yeah, we might just charge a stocking fee to pick up that color. If it's colors we do have, and it's something like a pattern that we don't have yet, if there's like a custom stencil you're looking for, show us that stencil and we might be able to procure it. And again, there might be a stocking fee for it. And then if it's just a traditional camo pattern, there's they go up a little bit based on the style of camo. Like if there's more, this one has 3 camo colors in it, right? This one has like 4 or 5. So the more colors in it, the more it's going to cost. But you can still basically kind of base that off the prices we have on our website. Certain colors, and I leave that up to Justine and the painting team. Certain colors do not blend well with each other. They don't paint well or stencil well. So that might be a factor on whether or not they say yes or no. You want a red and green camo pattern. Okay, so we have red and green. We have green mamba, which is this bright green right here. And I don't have a red one with me. I don't think. No, I don't have a red one with me. But we do have USMC red, Marine Corps red. Kind of gives Christmas vibes, maybe. But if that's something you're interested in, just reach out. I'll drop the sales email in there. There you go. So just shoot an email there, let them know, hey, I want this slide and I want this camo stencil, this camo style, and can you do it in red and green, and they'll get an answer for you. But if it's just camo, yeah, they should probably be able to do that. A little two-tone camo. I don't see why not, unless there's some reason red and green don't stencil well together. They should. I think they should. I'll leave that to them though. But yeah, shoot an email out and just ask them, hey, I was talking with you guys on live. I'm kind of interested in doing a slide pattern like this. Can you do it? And then they'll go from there. But yeah, that's something we can sometimes do. When it comes to creating laser, yes, we have someone we work with. I don't know about custom designs. We did just do one for those of you that saw our 250th anniversary. We did an American style slide for America's birthday. So there is some stuff we can do. I don't know about constant, like individual custom engraving, but we are starting to slowly get into that. And then let me refresh over here because apparently what's his face is on live. Yeah, I'm going to pop over, once this is over, I'm going to pop on over to Shooting Gallery over on Rumble. Just say hi over there. As I continue to drink some more coffee and get ready for the day. Stay Dangerous wants like a forest green and a dark red. Okay. I don't know, maybe the engraving they can do, maybe. But forest green, yeah, we have some stuff like that. I'd probably recommend Jesse James Eastern Front Green. Look at that on our website. Just look up Jesse James Green. It's this camo style H Series 400. Pretty good, solid forest style kind of green. Is it showcased on here? It should be. Yes. Okay. It's going to be kind of hard to see because it's camo. But you see this line of like, it's a little hard to tell. So this green right here is the Jesse James Green. Let's see if there's a better show of it. It's kind of a forestry green. It's not showing up too well on video, but yeah, this one right here. That might work out well for you. We only have the one red right now, which is USMC Marine Corps red, and it's a little closer to this kind of red back here. But take a look at the red colors on the website, or take a look at all the colors on the website and kind of see what you like. And if there's a color you want that's not those, go to the Cerakote website, look up H series, and dig through there. And if it's a color you want that we don't have, we could always order one. But again, that's up to the painting team. And if we do order a color, you might get a stocking fee just to order that color that we don't normally carry. Because if we only do a one-off with it, then the Cerakote just sits there, and Cerakote's only good for about 6 months before it starts to kind of sediment. So, yeah, that's usually why there's a stocking fee. Is if it's a color we don't normally use, then there's a stocking fee usually. Unless it's a color we were planning on using, sometimes we don't charge the stocking fee. But again, it's all with the painting team on that. But yeah, drop an email and let them know, hey, this is what you were talking about. This is what you're interested in, and they'll go from there. I will drop. I don't know if it's going to pop up. Let me know if the link doesn't pop up. But I'm going to drop shooting galleries in the chat. Here we go. So let me just that. Yeah, we'll see if it pops in the chat or not. Sometimes they don't like links so much, but that's where I'm going to pop over next just to say hi. He has a couple of our slides too. And if you guys haven't seen Shooting Gallery, check him out. That's where I'm going to pop over. Looks like it popped in on my chat, but my chat, is different than your guys' chat. So I'll try to get it this week coming up. So if you see it, oh, right on. All right, guys. Well, that's where I'm going to end it. So thank you for checking out Stiffler Manufacturing, where we make all of our slides in-house from 17.4 stainless steel bar stock. We do all of our own Cerakote in-house as well. Right here in Arizona, everything's, American-made, veteran-owned company. We do things for the Glock 19, 17, and the 26. We're going to work on the 43. So thank you guys for checking us out, and check out StifflerManufacturing.com. And as always, stay 2A every day.